Oh, we're here. Just like that.
It's like a time warp.
It's a time warp. That's probably my favorite of the intros. Where's our music? Jeez.
Oh, you need redo.
It's been a very long week, so
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Hope everyone had a wonderful week.
Yes.
Here we are with another Dental Bite with an amazing guest.
Oh, one of my faves.
A return guest.
I called him, he's our poster boy.
He's the man.
He is the man. Yeah. Whether he likes it or not.
I can hear him laughing in the background there.
Yeah, he's muted, so. But yeah, without further ado, let's just
get him on here.
Let's bring him in and get into chatting.
Dr. Faraj Edher.
All right.
You gotta have like the round of applause.
Oh. There's not enough people there though.
We need more people cheering.
I need a bigger audience.
How you doing today, Faraj?
Good. What's up, guys? How's it going?
It's good.
Oh yeah, it's been good.
It's good. We're having fun as usual.
Yeah.
You guys definitely have two things: the best intro to a dental podcast and the best setup for a dental podcast. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot coming from the guru of digital.
Yeah.
So thank you. That's a
really
huge
cool.
compliment.
Yeah. We'll send you the $20 in the mail.
Yeah. Check them out.
Yeah, so we've been busy, obviously. What about yourself? How are things? It's been a while since we've chatted.
Yeah, things are great. Busy too, and just moving along with things.
Awesome.
Very cool.
You were just on vacation, looked pretty awesome. You're
super jealous.
The spot that you like, next time you go somewhere, you got to bring us like that. I know you went to Montreal with Tyler though. So
yeah, I've got air miles. I can fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, it was beautiful. It was nice to get some open, water again. That you could swim in, because that's kind of probably one of my favorite things to do in the world, like water sports and just being by the water and beach. And so that was really awesome.
I remember, yeah, you were saying last time that you enjoyed jet skiing. Do I remember that correctly?
Yeah. Any type of water sport, like anything to do with water, I'm down.
Awesome.
So here's a question. Like obviously we've been through this pandemic now for a number of years, and hopefully we can see the light at the end of the tunnel now, fingers crossed. But like, because we haven't been able to go anywhere warm, like in 2020, we had to cancel our Mexico trip. The year after, we couldn't go to Mexico. We want to get away on a few tropical vacations, and we couldn't. So here we are 2 years after the fact almost, and we haven't been anywhere warm or tropical. But you have, and I know that's awesome for you, and I'm jealous. But does getting out and going somewhere warm, a nicer, different climate, like, does it really sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Does it really help you relax? Like, I can stay at home and have a vacation and try to unplug or whatever, but I think that there's something to going to a location where it's warm and you get to kick your feet up. Is there like a physiological or a chemical response that your body has that makes you actually relax better? Do you think?
I 100% think so. It's not the same. Like, you can take all the time you want, but being in a tropical setting by the beach with the sand and the water is just, I don't know, it's just a different thing. And yeah, it was good to get back to it. The one thing I will say is, because it had been so long, like I was used to, like you said, probably once a year, try to find time to go somewhere warm and spend time by the water. But it had been a couple years, so I got sunburned a lot faster than I ever have. I think it's because my skin was so used to not seeing sun as much. So yeah, that's just a warning. Extra sunscreen when you do get out again.
Good tip.
And I'm that Nordic shade.
Yeah.
Like the northern
Tyler has
from Ireland shade.
He's got two tones, white and red.
Well, I call it frog belly white. It's not even white. It's like a translucent white.
Yeah.
Like my face gets so pale you can see through it almost.
Oh.
Okay, enough about me. But no, that's cool.
SPF 200.
Yeah, exactly. And the only reason I ask is because sometimes as we get through this journey of this pandemic, that's why I'm like, oh, and it does sort of like, I'm like, man, if I wonder if getting away would have made me relax more. So very insightful. Thank you for that answer.
Yes, it would have. And if Faraj said otherwise, I probably would have just pressed stop on this whole interview.
It was a leading question, I know, but I had to I wanted to hear it from myself.
Yes, I know.
You have questions. Go ahead.
I have too many questions. Faraj, is there's no doubt about it. Your influencer level online. You're heading up all of these wonderful things like the BC Study Club and your work with the Digital Dentistry Institute. I wanted to pick your brain today on I know that you were mentioning that 50% of your patients are coming in via referral, which is awesome. But the other 50%, I was maybe a little surprised to hear that they're coming in directly off the street. And now kind of wanted to pick your brain on like, where are they coming from? What are you doing to find those people? How are they finding you?
Yeah, that's a question that can be answered in 100 different ways. But I think you nailed it when you said, I think there's a misconception when it comes to what influence means, like especially online. And to me, it really just boils down to one thing, which is reputation. And reputation is not something new, right? Like we have been, like we've cared about reputation forever as human beings. It's just that now we have the ability to have that reputation spread a lot easier through online channels, as opposed to you being limited to the people that you get to actually interact with face to face. And that's truly how I think of online presence, right? I'm personally not a believer in any sort of short-term marketing in dentistry. That's just my take on things. I believe more in long-term brand building, and brand really does just mean reputation building. So the same way you would build your reputation in real life, by being honest, by being consistent, by caring, by providing quality services to the people that come to see you, it's just being able to express that through online platforms. And that's pretty much what I've done. And over time, what that does is it builds trust, and it also builds familiarity. So patients come in feeling like they already know what it is that we stand for. They already know what our values are. They already know what it is that we take care of and pay attention to more than other things. So it's also really challenging to be able to isolate things into one thing or another. I believe that online presence is a combination of things. So it's not what you do on YouTube versus SEO on your website versus what you put out on Facebook or whatever it is. I think it's just all of that coming together. Because as a human being, what you do is you come across someone, and especially if it's something that's really important, like your smile, right? You're not going to hopefully you don't make a decision on a whim, right? You're going to do your research. You're going to look into the person. You're going to look into the clinic. You're going to look into the results. So that's where all of the different platforms come into play. When someone finds me and comes across my platform on Instagram, the first thing they're probably going to do is then check the website, read the Google reviews. They might have a question that they'll find the answer to on YouTube. So that's, to me, how it all ties in together. And at the end of the day, the goal is not to bring people in for me. The goal is to position myself as a resource and as someone who can help in an area that I consider myself to be an expert, which is prosthodontics. And then when someone needs that at some point in their lifetime, in their dental journey, I'm potentially someone that they'll look for because they've already come across my platform and gotten to know who I am.
That's
cool.
Yeah, that's
that really summarized, like that really encapsulates everything that you're.
Yeah, that was nice talking to you. Well,
well, that's our show for today. So
that translates, like, as you were saying that, like, I pictured what you're putting out there, and that's what I feel, and you're doing it very well.
I was kind of scrolling as you were talking there too. I was trying to absorb what you were saying while I was looking at your Instagram, and you're right. Like, you're really kind of blending the confidence, the personal story, and I really am coming here to source out a resource for my dental needs, whether it's like I'm looking for a crown or veneers, or if I just want to improve my smile in some way. Maybe I don't know how I want to improve my smile. I would come to you and say, hey, you know what? Like, is there something I can do here aesthetically to make my smile a little, whatever the descriptor is.
Also too, like with that all being said, where are you finding the most eyeballs? Is that, like, I see you posting everywhere. I see you on LinkedIn. I see you on Instagram. Which channel do you see the most traffic coming from? And is it all organic? Are you putting a couple dollars into social media as well for advertisement?
Yeah, so again, it's really hard for me to track where exactly people come from. I would say if I had to choose one platform where I directly get, for example, leads, that'd be through Instagram, through my Instagram. And I think a part of that is Instagram is very visual, and a lot of what we do, or at least what we do in prosthodontics, is something that can visually be expressed in photographs and videos. So Instagram's definitely been a big one for me. Most of the stuff that I do is organic. I do spend on SEO. So that's something that I do have a monthly budget for. And then on occasion, and this is more for educational purposes more than it is directly to patients, so it's more for the study club and DDI related things, I'll run paid ad campaigns on Facebook and Instagram as well to announce about, certain workshops or certain online webinars that we're conducting and get interest through there. I haven't done that as much for general public awareness and things like that, because just certain things related to algorithms online don't really allow you to, I think, take advantage of that as best as possible. It's just there's certain algorithms when it comes to personal health, and also using, like, for example, before and after images and things like that, which are limiting. So I haven't had as much success with that. Most of the stuff that I've been doing is more organic and just reaching people through the stuff that we post and the education that we do, and then answering questions. That's been a big one. So I get more than anything messages from people from all over the world, including BC and Canada and so on, where they see something and they just have a question and they're like, hey, I've experienced this. What are my options here? And there's only so much, obviously, we can do online, especially on a message chat thing.
Right.
But it does allow us to answer basic questions. It does allow us to give people a general idea of where they're headed, who they should see. Because that's also another part of, building an online platform. It's that you don't necessarily get just the type of patient that you're looking for. So I actually end up, out of the people that come to see me initially for exams or consultations, I probably end up preferring maybe 30 to 40% of them to family dentists in the community and orthodontists. Those are the two main kind of professionals that I have referred to through people that come to see me from online, because they come in saying, hey, I saw online that there was this amazing smile makeover and I want the same. And then I take a look, and what's right for them is braces, right? And that happens quite often. So then they get a referral to an orthodontist. But again, it's allowing us to help the person and examine them and actually advise them as to what's best for them. Same totally applies to, for example, family dentistry. A lot of people come in and they're like, I haven't seen a dentist in 5 years. What can you do to help me? And when you take a look, you realize that what they really need are cleanings and fillings and things like that. So then they get a referral to a family dentist.
Right. That makes sense. And then I'm sure in return, you're seeing those clinicians send people your way as well. So that's the beauty of our community, right?
Absolutely, 100%, and that's what we're trying to build on more and more through the BC Dental Study Club. It's really, amplifying that sort of atmosphere and that sort of collaboration within the community, because it really is just a collaboration. Like, at the end of the day, we all want to serve our communities and help our patients. And I tell my patients all the time, you're going to see Dr. Smith, who does fillings day in and day out every single day, and he's going to do, or she's going to do, a much better job than I will, right? So I think it's that sort of collaborative way of thinking, an approach to our patient care
Yeah.
is what allows us to provide our patients with truly a higher standard of care, right? It's knowing what our strengths are and knowing what other people's strengths are and being able to work together.
Mm-hmm. And now you've used the power of social media for this medium as well for your BC Dental Virtual Study Club, right? And that's another part in your package of goods, if you will,
offerings,
right? Yeah.
So, Faraj, can you tell us a little bit more about the BC Dental Study Club, BC Dental Virtual Study Club, I guess, or both?
Yeah, it's yeah. So the BC Dental Study Club actually was something that I started in March of 2020. So March of 2020 is a symbolic time for all of us,
That's
right?
that,
Because
yeah.
that's when
When
things went down.
yeah,
Watershed.
there was a big event that we got thrown under the bus
something
for.
happened. It's
There
like
was
the dinosaurs when the meteor hit the Earth or something,
that's
right?
right. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to you invited me out there for about a month ago to come to one of your evenings, which was amazing, by the way. So thank you very much for that invite. I just found like it was such an amazing, welcoming group to be with, and man, oh man, it was such a like almost like an electric vibe in that room. It was so fun.
It was honestly unique. Like I'm really, really proud to be a part of that group because, like I said, we started it during COVID when everyone was at home, everyone was confused, everyone was somewhat anxious about what was going on. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
was also somewhat happy that they got to take time off and breathe a little bit at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like at that time there were so many online events happening for dentistry. Everyone was running a webinar, right? Everyone was running a
Tell me
webinar and
about
some
it.
sort of seminar and something.
Totally, yeah. It's
And
still happening.
8 hours a day, like
yeah.
another webinar. Oh my god.
But the thing that was missing, I think, was the community element to things, right? Because those webinars, and that's one of the beauty of online webinars, is you can join a webinar anywhere in the world.
Right.
But that sort of community aspect of people that practice in the same province or city as you, where you share a lot of the same challenges, where you can advise each other on certain things. So I started the BC Virtual Study Club, and we at the time would meet once a week. During the shutdown where we were all at home, we'd meet once a week and we just share cases, discuss certain clinical things, and we'd decide on topics as a group. So we'd vote for what it is that we're interested in, and we would then discuss it, bring in experts, whether it be myself or bring in other specialists or other experts that know what they're talking about when it comes to the topic that we've chosen. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And once we got back to clinics, we continued it doing one session a month instead of one session a week. And now we have over 800 members, the majority of them being dentists in British Columbia. But then we have a lot of specialists, denturists, dental technicians, dental assistants, front desk staff, people that work with dental companies. So dental students, it's really encompassed the entire dental industry, which I think is what gives it the most value, is that we get a lot of different perspectives when we discuss certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been great. We share cases together, we learn together, we give feedback together. And like you said, in November, we had our first in-person event where we had a dinner. We're going to have a second one in May, which hopefully we'll plan a little better, because I was really surprised how fast we were at full capacity for that November session. So we had to say no, unfortunately, to a lot of people. So for this May one, we're hoping to plan accordingly and really bring in as much of the community as we can together and just have a good time.
So
make sure I'm on the list next time. Eh?
Mark wants to come to the next one. So
Mark's always got an open invitation.
Oh, there you go.
just to make sure we grasp the full gravity of this, you started the study club less than 2 years ago, and you already have over 800 members.
Yeah, it's the largest study club in Canada right now. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's unbelievable.
So how does somebody get registered? How do we get on? How do we get on board?
Well, we have to be dentists.
You go to bcdentalstudyclub.ca, bcdentalstudyclub.ca, and
I know.
You register through there.
Yeah, there you go. Cool.
So bcdentalstudyclub.ca, yeah, it's all on here. So like you said, comprehensive lectures, case discussions, treatment planning. Yeah, it's all on here. So you got to update the number from 700 to 800 on here.
Yeah, I do.
That's awesome. Cool. And then, of course, you're still involved with DDI at this point? Is this
Yeah,
through?
DDI has been great too. DDI is more of a global sort of CE organization where we run more comprehensive 3-day seminars or workshops, usually on different topics related to implant dentistry and digital dentistry.
Gotcha.
That slowed down to some degree over the past couple of years because a lot of what we did involved traveling to different cities and different countries. But one of the really cool things we did at DDI was we built an online platform that's kind of brought together the digital world and the traditional world. So we run these programs where we send kits to the participants' homes where they have models and handpieces and anything they need to follow along with the step-by-step training that's available online, and they can do it on their own time. So that's been really interesting, and I think we were kind of forced into innovating when it came to COVID to keep the education going at the level that DDI is used to. And we're really glad that we did that because we see a lot of potential for this on. It's kind of a hybrid model where it's online, but you still get to do the hands-on component. You still get to interact with your instructor and so on.
Yeah, it's cool. I remember talking to one of my clients about it, and she was saying, "Yeah, it's so cool. We get the model sent to our house," and I was scratching my head, going, "This sounds like something Faraj was doing." And she's like, "Yeah, Faraj Edher."
So how does
it's really cool.
How does somebody get involved with this? And Tyler, I might know, but I'm going to let her.
I'm
guess.
sorry. That was.
I know. How does somebody get involved with DDI? How it's and what and how like what is somebody going to get out of it when they join?
Well, DDI has two streams of education. We have our implant training. So if any dentist is interested in placing or restoring implants, we have very, very comprehensive programs that focus on that. We have them scheduled all across Canada this year. So we're back to the in-person stuff. We're doing it in Vancouver, I believe in Edmonton, definitely in Toronto and Montreal. And that's all on ddidental.com. And then for the online programs we were talking about, that's available on demand, right? So you can sign up, you get the kit sent to your home or your clinic, and then you can do that on your own time. And that's all at, you can also find it on ddidental.com or online.ddidental.com.
Cool.
Very cool.
Awesome.
And then, of course, we have your website, which is vancouverprosthodontist.ca, which is all about you.
That's me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well,
Awesome.
Off on the tangent. That's good. Right? Just
We're
like I
keeping
said,
our tangents to a minimum today.
it's
We're
a minimum.
pretty good with
That's
this.
good. But this was important stuff. This was important stuff when we definitely wanted to cover these things too. Okay, so now we've found this patient. Okay, we're going back in time here. We've found this patient that wants your services. What does a consult look like? Talk to us about teledentistry, how you're using that tool, and any other awesome tool that you're using to talk to that patient, talk to them about what they're looking for and what they want to get out of dentistry.
Yeah, so teledentistry has been great, considering that what I do is specialized in the sense that I really focus on complex reconstructions and like aesthetic makeovers. So a lot of my patients are from the lower mainland, but a lot of patients come in from all across BC. I have a lot of patients that come from Alberta, and I have patients that come from as far as Ontario. So for patients that do have to travel to come see me, the virtual consultations are really useful because what they do is they save them a trip, number one, but number two, they give them the information they need to make a initial decision as to whether this is right for them or not. It's obviously not as detailed as when they come in, but we get to talk about what's going on, what the treatment options are, approximate costs, approximate timelines. If they're coming in from, let's say, Alberta, then how many trips will they have to make? How long will they have to stay? So they get all that information over a 30-minute online, similar to this, meeting. And we get to go through all that. So if it's not going to be a good fit for them, then they've saved themselves a trip to Vancouver. And if it is going to be a good fit for them, then they're a lot more confident taking that next step for booking their really comprehensive examination when they come in person. And we usually combine that with also taking records. So that's really the beauty of teledentistry and being able to run these virtual consultations is it allows you to really utilize your chair time a lot more effectively because you've taken a lot of the talking out of the way because you've done that already virtually.
Right.
So this patient, let's say, is wanting to have a smile makeover done. We have our initial meeting. We talk about the process. I get an understanding of their expectations and their needs, and we decide that they're a good fit for whatever it is that we decide on doing treatment plan wise. Give them an idea of cost and timeline. They decide to book their trip and come over to have the consultation done. That consultation is where we do our comprehensive examination, things that can really only be done with the patient sitting in the chair. And then we also take all of our records, which includes digital photographs, intraoral scan, so a digital impression, cone beam CT if we need a three-dimensional X-ray. And we're able to now start to communicate with the patient what it is that we hope the outcomes to be, right? So tools like virtual smile design, that's been an amazing tool to use for patient communication. And one thing I always tell people is it benefits me just as much as it benefits the patient. So it's not only me being able to communicate with my patient better, it allows my patient to communicate so much better to me because they can point at something and explain to me what they like and they don't like. And during the consultation, the only thing I'm trying to do is see the patient's end result through their eyes. If I'm able to do that, then half the success is there. We're already halfway to the successful outcome. If I'm able to truly understand what the patient wants to see at the end of the day when they smile, that's really the most challenging part, and that's really the part that requires the most sophisticated sort of communication between myself and the patient. And that's where virtual smile design significantly helps. Because once I do see through the patient's eyes what it is that they expect the outcome to be, I'm able to very clearly explain to them how we can get there or why we cannot get there, right? Because sometimes there's false expectations as to what it is that you want to see that aren't practically possible. So again, virtual smile design, really, really useful to be able to have those conversations in a lot of detail that would be impossible to do just verbally. And that's all something we can do during that initial visit when patients come in if they've already been screened by teledentistry.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's such an effective tool.
That really translates the power of it. So yeah, thanks for that. That's awesome.
And it's nice to really get an understanding of the scope of what the journey is going to look like, right? To say, look, I know I want a better, more aesthetic smile. I just don't really know like what this journey looks like. So to be able to have that face-to-face conversation with someone, to really have a two-way conversation, a dialogue about their oral care or about what they're trying to achieve, I think that's a really powerful thing.
Super powerful. Yeah.
And it's also being able to back it up with the results. That's what that I feel is like the master combo. It's being able to utilize the technology to communicate and express what it is that we can achieve, but then it's also being able to utilize that technology to predictably achieve those outcomes. And that's where I think once we've got that flow, once we've got that workflow that allows us to do both of those things, that's where it really unlocks a lot of different things that we're able to do, because we're able to now communicate and actually produce the outcomes that we're communicating. And once you're able to show that at scale, which means once you're able to show that you're able to do that predictably time and time again, it's a game changer for patients coming in wanting to have work done.
Do they come in with pictures of celebrities?
It happens. Yeah, and that's actually very useful because I can take the shapes and the proportions, and I can show them what that looks like on their own face virtually. And a lot of times people realize that teeth that look good on Tom Cruise don't look good in your face, so it's not what you're necessarily.
Tom Cruise has that one central is like straight down the mid street, isn't it? Like his one.
Well,
I think he's got the shifted one. Yeah, he's got the shifted midline.
But I think I remember when he did the clear liners. Well, it was like 15 years ago. He did it, and he was talking about trying to get that fixed. But I think that's when Invisalign really took off, because he was out there talking about it.
He was a poster boy. He was their poster boy. Yeah.
He was jumping on couches, showing his teeth, I think, at some point.
So I think, that kind of answers my what would be my next question is like, what gets that patient across the finish line? And it's just predictable results. You're backed up by your reputation as being the guy to go to for that service. and that translates well on the story that you're telling online. So
and I think it's the finish line will look different with every patient, right? Like you say, because you've offered yourself as a resource for your patients. Every outcome looks different. So,
and you know, this is a business, right? And I know it's a business of helping people, but a lot of folks have a difficult time just having the conversation, like having the right conversations, I would say, to address a patient's wants or needs, and then, you know, having the right tools in place to show them that it's possible, right?
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
I think that's a really, really good point. And I honestly think a big part of overcoming that obstacle is truly seeing the value in what you do. Right? If you don't truly see the value in what it is that you do for your patient, or what it is that you're potentially offering your patient, then it becomes very difficult to have that conversation, right? But when you truly see the value and you kind of stand behind the outcomes of what you provide, that makes that conversation a lot easier. And that's the other thing that you say, like when we say what brings it all together to get the final outcome, it's I think uncompromised quality.
Right. Yeah.
I have no problem, and I do this quite often, sending cases back to be remade multiple times. And it's an inconvenience for patients. And obviously that's why a lot of people, and we're talking about, and that's where you want to draw the line is different depending on what it is that you want to get to. But for me, if I've built everything that I do to revolve around quality and the best quality you can possibly get, patients are, yes, disappointed that we've lengthened the time frame for their treatment because we've sent things back. But underlying that, they're actually more appreciative than anything else. Because what is another visit for something that you're going to have in your mouth for 15 years, right? So patients understand that. And they understand that I tried things in. So if we're talking about crowns or veneers or something like that, a lot of times we'll try them in and have the patient take a look in the mirror, and they'll say, yeah, this looks wonderful, perfect, great, I'm very happy. And then I sit them back down and we say, you know, I'm really glad you're happy, and I do think it looks great, but there are point 1, 2, and 3 that I think we can get just slightly better. Right? Patients appreciate that. They appreciate that a lot, right? Because they gave you the thumbs up and they were ready to go, but they're relying on your expertise. You as a dental provider, you do this day in and day out, so you're in a position of authority to be like, yes, it does look great, but we can do better. And I think that's uncompromised quality, I think is something that's needed to back all of this up, right? And not just let it be. It's not just a smile we're putting up on a screen. It's also something that we're implementing with high quality in our patients' overall oral environment.
And I think because you're documenting it digitally along the way, again, it really just adds to your case to say, you know what, there's a reason we took a scan. There's a reason we took digital photographs. Is so that at the end of the day, when we come back and look and I do find those 1, 2, 3 points that I'm not happy with, I've documented it and it's here for me to look at and go, you know what, I can get this better. So that's amazing.
Absolutely.
And I was going to say, Faraj, I remember we were talking about our OCD, so that plays into it too, right? Oh God, there's just that little cusp that I'm not happy with. Yeah. And you know what? That's the patient benefits from that level of care. And that just builds on your rapport and your reputation. So that's great.
Yeah.
That's why I never wash the car, because I tell my wife I would never stop washing it because I have OCD. So like,
you've got to draw the line somewhere. You've got to draw the line somewhere.
That's my excuse. I'm like, I got OCD. I can't wash the car. It's,
and that's actually, I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but one of Ron Zolko, you both know Ron, Dr. Ron Zolko. Yeah. So he, when I joined the practice almost 5 years ago now, one of the first things that he told me, because he picked up on my OCD when I'd be discussing cases with him, and I'd be like, no, but it could be better, blah blah blah. And he told me something that's really kind of transformed the way I think of clinical dentistry. Is he was like, you'll never be able to achieve perfection in dentistry. But where you stop and say good enough is what differentiates between a good dentist and a great dentist.
I like
And
that.
I think that's very profound, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to draw a line. You have to say good enough, but where you draw that line is what makes the difference.
And but that last 90, like that last 1% is, it usually takes the most amount of time too, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
I get that. I think that that resonates with me. That kind of goes to say for just any profession too. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, that's all I had to ask. Is what else is cool? What else is going on in the industry that you're excited about?
Before we wrap up.
Yeah.
What's going on in the industry? Well, when it comes to, I think when it comes to the technology, there's definitely a lot going on. One thing that I'm paying a lot of attention to, and this is just because I kind of enjoy the technology aspect of things and everything that's going on. But we've all heard of, the metaverse and all that stuff that's happening with virtual reality and augmented reality. There are some dental applications that are being worked on that are really, really cool. So things where you'll be able to, as a dentist, put on glasses that allow for augmented reality. And if you're, for example, preparing a tooth or placing an implant, you can see in real time things related to, for example, the patient's anatomy, cone beam CTs integrated into their mouth. And that's just, I'm looking at them, doing my work, being able to track where the nerve is. And I think applications of augmented reality and virtual reality are really, really interesting, and they'll have a very significant impact on the profession once they become tried and true, and more importantly, affordable. So, but it's coming, like 100%.
I agree 100%.
And, yeah,
I'm all over VR right now. I just
we're all over VR right now. Like, he's got the goggles. I'm obviously I'm gonna be sucked into buying a pair soon too.
When are you taking the BC Study Club into VR?
Yeah, I have an Oculus set, and for some reason, every time I use it, I lose track of my hands in real life. Like, I take it off, and then for the next few days, my hands just seem really weird. I don't know what's going on. So,
well, it's messing with your reality, like jumping into that. Like, I woke up really early one morning when they launched the James Webb Space Telescope, right? Early Christmas morning. And it's like truly like being immersed in a 3D world where you can look around 360 degrees and literally watch this rocket take off and then take the goggles off and, operate in the regular world. It's weird. It really is. It messes with your head a little bit.
Well, it's cool. We were watching this video this morning, watching how they're shooting the new Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And they're shooting on these sound stages. It's basically like they call them volumes. So as a dentist, you'll know what, in terms of CBCT. So they have these sound stages that are like a semicircle. They go right around the camera, and you act in front of this screen, and it creates the most authentic real life background. So it eliminates all the building that needs to be done. Like, it's literally, I'd say a couple million. I don't know how many, but it's all these LED screens that create this extremely realistic background, and you can pretty much have anything behind you now. And they call it a volume, which is so cool. Just to see the way that they're starting to make these movies now with this, like, it's a hybrid virtual reality type of scenario where the actors are inside this world, but then it's like all around them. You can't really tell what's real and what's not. It's really fascinating to watch. Also, speaking of this, is you and I, we've been brainstorming on the virtual consult being virtual as well.
Yeah, putting on VR goggles to do that consult.
I think that'd be cool.
What do you think about that?
That's I 100% think that's where things are headed. 100%, like, for sure. And I think it'll be very, very quick as to the change that'll happen.
I think so too.
It's not going to be as slow as, like, for example, when the internet was introduced, right? It was relatively slow with people taking that on into their day-to-day life. But we're so accustomed now to technology and change that I think the next change, which will be it will be virtual reality, augmented reality, blockchain technology, all of that stuff. Yeah, I think that's going to have a very quick sort of application for people. So that'd be really cool. It'd be really cool to be able to sit there and kind of feel like you're with the patient.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're going to go eventually with Dentist on Demand. Like, my 13-year-old son will be downstairs in his gaming chair, And eventually you'll see a Dentist on Demand ad scroll across his gaming screen, right? That's where we're
And
going.
then
That's where we're
punch it.
starting.
He'll punch.
That's
it,
where
it'll
we're starting to
disappear.
put our stuff, right? Is that, or focusing on who's the next generation of people coming up, and where do we need to put the ads for Dentists on Demand so they can see, hey, if you need to see a dentist, click here, and then it'll say, you know, if someone could be gaming and all of a sudden they get, oh man, and then all of a sudden right there it pops up on your screen. Sounds like you need to see a dentist.
Well, not to mention too, like being a part of the BC Study Club or being a part of DDI and being, you know, up to date with everything that's going on. The chances of people falling behind now with technology and running a practice is growing exponentially. So to be in the now is hugely important.
Yeah.
To not be left behind.
Yeah, I agree with you though. I think people are going to pick it up faster. I think we are in a bit of a state of confusion right now. I think there's a lot of confusion around Web 3.0, NFTs, blockchain, all this stuff. I mean, even like most people are still trying to get a handle on it, but people are also trying to jump ahead of each other and say, you know, I want to be the first to it. Yet I don't really understand it.
It's just a matter of time now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're going to like, instead of going to the movie theater, you could actually sit in your own room, put on your goggles, and actually be on set with the actors while they're acting everything out.
Yeah. Go on YouTube and Google how The Mandalorian's being made. It's really cool to watch that process.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out because it's crazy all the stuff that's going on. But it's worthwhile spending the, 40 hours to learn, right? Because like you said, Tyler, it's we're still early on. People aren't that far behind yet because it's still so early on. Like 40 hours of good research over a span of 2 months will get you up to date on all of these technologies and at least give you enough information to have proper conversations and make decisions as to how it can affect what you do, right? So it's
I wake up in the morning and
exciting.
I look at my crypto account now every other day or every morning. Like it's not a lot of money, but I put enough in there that I was comfortable. If I lost, that's fine. Which is what they say, anytime you're buying crypto, they're like, be prepared to lose this money. But you know, it's kind of a fun thing now for me to go on every other day and say, oh, look at that, I'm up $20 or down $20.
But there's
down 200.
There's a lot of there's a few things out there right now that are changing the world. Like the 3D printing is another one of those things that a road that we can travel down. But like all of these things are going to change everything that we do. Everything.
I agree.
Yeah.
Faraj, it's been great having you on yet again.
When are we getting you on next?
No, this is awesome, guys. Honestly, anytime it's always fun to chat.
We know you're a busy guy, so we really appreciate you
thank
taking
you
the
so
time
much.
to join us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, VancouverProsthodontist.ca is Dr. Faraj Edher's website. Make sure to check out his virtual study club at bcdentalstudyclub.ca. And
I'll just put them all up there. There we go. There you go.
If I don't see you online next, I'll just see you in clinic.
There you go.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming
Have
on.
a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Cheers.